Good morning, Year 6, and happy Monday. This is the last week before half term. It's been a short little half term. I hope you've enjoyed the weekend. It's been a nice sunny weekend. And I hope you enjoy what we've got in store for you this week. Today you have got an introduction to Wolf Brother, which is a new book that you'll be looking at with Mrs. Perry. It is a wonderful book, and it links really nicely to our topic about the Stone Age and prehistoric Britain. In maths, you'll be looking at ratio, and in English, we'll be looking at a descriptive narrative.
Hello, Year 6. We're going to be starting a new book. It's called Wolf Brother. And today, instead of reading a chapter and answering some questions, I'd just like to start thinking about the book and what you think it might be like and have a few ideas about it. And then we'll actually start reading and doing the questions tomorrow. I know that some of you have been reading the chapters at bedtime and then answering the questions the next day. So I will attach the first chapter to the learning booklet in case you want to read it this evening, ready for your questions tomorrow. But it will also be available on tomorrow's work as well. So, Wolf Brother. Have a look at the covers. These are two different covers from the book, same story inside each one. I'm wondering what you think it might be about. Have a little think. Here are some questions that I'd like you to think about today. You don't have to write anything down, not write the answers, but just have some thoughts about this. By looking at those covers, what do you think the story is about? When do you think the story is set? Where do you think the story is set? Who do you think the main character is? Why do you think it's called Wolf Brother? Quite an interesting title, isn't it? And what type of story do you think it actually is? What I'd like you to do is pause the screen, have a think about the answers to that, so you don't have to write anything down. Maybe have a chat with someone about what you're thinking. And then when you restart the video, you will actually see the answers to some of these questions. So make sure you have a think before you have a look at the answers. Okay, so Wolf Brother is actually set in a prehistoric forest, and the story takes place just over 6,000 years ago during the Middle Stone Age. So obviously this is a great book to go with your topic at the moment. Now the main character is called Torek, and he is 12 years old, so just a little bit older than you guys. Torek, after his father is killed by a demonic bear, must overcome many perils to revenge his death and rid the world of the evil bear before it destroys the world. So a very exciting story. To help him on his way, he meets Wolf, a young pup whose family have died. So quite a good adventure story, quite exciting. There's a map here for you to have a look at. It's where the story is set, and in the front of the book you do actually see this map. Now the story starts in the forest, as I said to you, and you will see on the map there's various clans. There's the Boar clan, the Raven clan, and so on. Now in prehistoric times, people lived in clans, which is like big groups of people, and they might have had set territories to live in or move from place to place. So clans were quite important, and the story does mention them, so you know what they are now I've explained. So, as I said, no questions for today. Tomorrow we're going to look at chapter 1 and answer some questions. The chapter 1 is in today's learning booklet as well as tomorrow's, just in case you want to read it this evening to be ready for the questions in the morning. Fantastic story, hope you enjoy it. We will usually do one chapter at a time, but if the chapters are very short, we may sometimes read two. So I hope you'll enjoy that. And we're going to do some maths next today. Okay guys, here's your skills practice today. 8 questions for you to try for your maths today. Just a couple of things for you to think about. On number 1, you've got a choice of questions, whichever sort you want to practice. Of course, you're welcome to do both. On number 2, when you use your bus stop here for division, if you can, I'd like you to try and give your answer as a decimal number. Just a reminder that when you get to the end of the number, if you've got remainders, instead of just writing the remainders, you put a decimal point and a 0 and you carry on your division to give your answer as a decimal. Now if you're not sure about that or can't remember how to do it, please just give your answer as a remainder. Also on here today, when you're putting these into order from smallest to largest, quite tricky at the moment because you've got all different things there. So my clue for you would be to try and convert them so they're all the same thing. So all decimal numbers, all fractions, all percentages, whatever you find easiest. And finally for the missing angles, on the diagonal lines, the opposite angles will be exactly the same. So you're going to know what that one is because it's going to be the same as that one. Big clue there. And then just a reminder, all the angles on the circle add up to 360 degrees. So there's some clues there to help you solve those missing angles. Good luck with those today, and the answers will be on the next page for you. So here are the answers for today's skills practice. Hope you got on well with those. On number 2, if you gave this as a remainder, you will have had 95 with a remainder of 1. Just depends whether you did it as the decimal number or not. Hope you got on okay with those today. So for our maths today, we're going to look at ratio, and there is a super video for you to watch on the White Rose website. Now there is a chance that if you click on here, it's going to take you straight to it, but it may not work that way. In which case, if you can just copy and paste this, or type it into, take a bit longer, copy and paste or type it into your browser bar, and it will take you straight to this video here that looks like this. The video is 3 or 4 minutes long and it teaches you about ratio, so you're going to watch that and then you'll be ready for the work that comes on the next page. Hope you like the video. Hi, hope you enjoyed the video. The work for you is here today. I want you to not bother with number 4 because it talks about building a tower with cubes and talking to a partner, so you can miss number 4 out and you'll be doing these. Number 2 is going to be a little bit tricky because it asks you to put a circle around these pictures, which you can't really do. I want you to just in your mind imagine where you would put the circle, what groups you'd put them into. Number 5 asks you to draw a picture. Obviously you can draw a picture, you've got some paper at home. So it's number 4 that you can miss out today. So good luck with your questions, and then there'll be a few more questions on the next page. Here are some more questions for you, Year 6. These you should be able to do. When you get to number 8, you don't need to bother drawing the whole fish tank, but you can draw yourself some little fish on the paper to help you do that one. Good luck with those, and the answers will be on the next page. So here are the answers for your ratio questions. You can pause this and see how you got on with those. And here are the answers to the second part of the questions. Hope you got on okay with those today. And that's the end of the maths for you today. Hope you enjoyed that. Miss Tucker has some more work for you now. Bye for now.
Okay, so what I would like you to do before we talk about writing is I'm going to ask you in a moment to look at a music video on YouTube. You can follow that link there, or there is a link in your PDF booklet. And it's a link to the song Titanium by David Guetta. It's a good song. I'm sure most of you know it. The song talks, before you listen to it, just think about some of the lyrics in there. So the song talks about being shot down. It doesn't necessarily mean being shot down by a gun. It means shot down by other people's negative influences. So you might say, oh, I'm really excited to run this race on sports day, and someone might say, oh, why are you going to run it? You're not very good at running. That's the kind of shot down that it's on about. So not literally being shot at by a gun, but being shot down by people's negative influences. It also talks about being titanium. titanium being a really strong type of metal. So thinking about the properties of that, it's strong, it's unbendable, it's pretty much unbreakable. So in a moment, I'd like you to watch the video and listen to the music. And what we will end up doing by the end of this week is writing a narrative description of the storyline to the music video. So take a moment now, pause this video, load up YouTube and go to the David Guetta Titanium link and have a watch of that, and then come back to this video, please. Don't go down some crazy wormhole on YouTube looking at the next song. Just watch that one and then come back. Okay, so the music video shows a school-aged boy who sits alone in the center of a catastrophic event at his school. Please note, before you all start, I'm thinking of some of you in my head going, oh, there's bodies everywhere. There's no bodies. There's no violence in this video. Okay, nobody is hurt, but we can see that something has happened. There's been a mess. There's a lot of mess in the corridors. As the boy gets up and starts to move, we notice that there is a school teacher scared of the boy. That's unusual. We don't tend to be scared of pupils as teachers. And she starts to call who we later find out to be the police, and the boy starts to run away. So there are some clues later in the video, like there's a news article on TV that gives us some information that the boy has supernatural powers, which we can assume through the teacher's actions caused the event at the school. Eventually, the boy is surrounded by people trying to capture him, but we can assume, evades capture through the use of his magical powers. So he lies down, crawls into a ball, and gets really focused or whatever he's doing, and a big yellow light kind of shines out from him, and it pushes all those people that are trying to capture him away. So things I'd like you to think about is what happened to cause the event? Like what happened to make him use his supernatural powers? Did he know he had supernatural powers before this event? Maybe he was scared, or he was angry, or he was frustrated, or he was really, really excited about something, and it caused his powers to kind of slip out. Maybe he did it on purpose, I don't know. He looks a bit embarrassed and a bit scared at the start, and a bit ashamed. So I don't think he did it on purpose, but possibly so. So why is he running away? Where is he running to? And throughout, I want you to think about emotion. How is he or other people feeling? So if it helps to watch that video again, please do, and then resume this video now you've got a bit more information on it. So what we're going to do is we're going to write a descriptive narrative about that storyline. So you can draft up a storyline mountain a bit like this. Think about the opening. How does the story open? What's the build-up? What's the dilemma? How is it resolved? And the ending. Don't worry too much about these dealies. You can think about similes and things if you want, but don't worry about them too much. Think about emotions as you go through, but really what I want you to think about is this bit. The opening to the ending. What happens there? So pause this video, have a think about it, jot it down on a piece of paper, make yourself a bit of a map, and then we'll come back to it. Okay, so the opening is that there is a boy and he's bewildered. So I'm not going to write on this because my fingers are too chubby to write on the screen very neatly. It's only a little screen on my laptop. So he's bewildered, so I'm going to put a question mark because he's confused. There's a lot of mess, and he's in school. The build-up is he starts to run. The teacher calls the police. He starts to collect things from the house. The dilemma, that's where we find out that he's being chased by the police. And he gets a bike at one point. And, oh, that should really be resolution, ignore me. So he uses the bike to get away from being chased by the police. And he tries things like a disguise and the hats and things. And then in the ending, he uses his supernatural powers. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to write this mini story into a descriptive narrative. I'm going to give you some examples of that as well as we go along to give you an idea of what I'm looking for. So, as you are writing, I want you to think about powerful description. How are you going to describe that video? Think about how much money and time and effort has gone into creating that music video, and you're now going to try and capture that on the page. So you need to think about description. On your PDF document, I've put loads and loads of descriptive pages of language that you might like to use, or words or key vocab that you can magpie from. So definitely look on the PDF to help you with this bit. If you can think of your own, perfect, add that in. I want you to think about showing, just telling. So sometimes when we get writing, before we've started warming up, you will tell me, for example, he was nervous. Okay, you've told me that he's nervous, now show it me. Try language like he could barely think straight. The overpowering pounding of his heart overwhelmed all senses. Okay, so that's telling me that his heart is beating. So it's not, you're not saying he was nervous, you're telling me that his heart was beating, and because I'm a semi-intelligent person, I can assume that he's either run a marathon or he's very nervous. Wiping the beads of sweat from his shaking hands, he edged out of the chaotic school corridor. So if he's edging out, he's nervous, he's creeping. Chaotic school corridor, that's telling me it's a mess. Shaking hands, nervousness, sweat. You sweat when you're nervous. So all these things are showing me that he's nervous instead of just telling me. Think about creating atmosphere. You guys are really, really good at this. I loved, do you remember when we did those narrative pieces on the Francis animation, the spooky story? You guys did a fabulous job on that. So here, especially when he's running and he's being chased by the police and he's almost being caught, you want to create that quick, rapid fire reading element. So short, sharp sentences, one or two after the other. Get rid of conjunctions, so use your semicolons or colons or commas to make those sentences short and snappy. So we just want those clauses as themselves, no flouncy bits. But remember, you can't make the whole thing like that, otherwise it is really tedious for your reader. So think, right, which bits am I most panicked? How can I make them panic for the reader? And make sure they are, and then elaborate everything else. You want to change that rhythm of the reading. Okay, you guys are really, really good at that, so I'm excited to see how they work out. And emotion. There are so many emotions portrayed. Lots of fear, some anger, all really powerful emotions that you can describe beautifully. Think really carefully, how can you effectively encapsulate, how can you portray that information, how can you show that information well in your writing. So to help you with this, there are 2 examples from Year 6 pupils in your PDF document. They've done the same. They're good. I wouldn't say they were as good as your guys' writing. There are some spelling mistakes. There are some punctuation mistakes. So I don't know if you spot those as you go through, because these were written by your 6s. Please, can I point out the gorgeous handwriting though? If you're handwriting these, make sure your handwriting is stunning. Both of these have got lovely handwriting. So as you read through these examples, to give you a bit of a start and idea, think about these 2 questions. Is there anything you want to magpie? Feel free to do that. And what makes it effective? These stories are good. So what makes them good? Look through what have they used that helps them make it an effective, powerful piece of writing. When you have done these, please, please, please share them with me either via email or Padlet. I'm very excited to read them. So I hope you enjoy. You don't have to do these all today. You can do a little bit of your planning to begin with today, and then go on and do a little bit extra. So take your time with it. I want it to be really, really good. And that is it for Monday, guys. So don't forget, you can shout out your learning. If you have got through this PowerPoint really quickly today and you want a bit of extra things to do, don't forget there is extra learning at BBC Bite Size. Please go on there and explore the activities. And we've got all those websites up there. Sorry about that. That was my dog just having a big yawn, if that was captured on there. So enjoy, and I can't wait to see what you've written. Bye, Year 6.